Have you ever been told that your child's current or chosen school can't meet the needs of your child? Or perhaps your child is experiencing the possibilities of an exclusion, or the options for where they wish to go for secondary or further education have come to a dead end. In this video, I want to talk about the options available to us parents when the outlook for your child to stay at their current school looks bleak, or that their chosen school have expressed that if your child was to attend, it would be unlikely that their needs would be met. My name is Brenda and I'm a parent mentor and a fellow parent, and I support parents to stay empowered whilst they navigate through procedural challenges. And I have advocated for my son's needs of autism and ADHD and other medical conditions to be supported whilst in education. And today I want to talk about what options do we have when we find ourselves in these predicaments. On this journey of navigating the special educational needs system, considering our options is a necessity. The reason why I've chosen to talk about this today, because on my son's journey, whilst he was within mainstream education, he was at a primary school where things were going well. He had been there from before the age of 5, and it was there where he got a diagnosis and also was in receipt of what was then known as a statement, which is now known as an EHCP. He felt that he belonged, he was there with his peers that he had grown up with for a length of time. Parents had got to know him, he had a connection with the teachers, he was familiar with the environment. Then the primary school changed its routine, its ethos. There was a change of a head teacher, there was a change in the structure, the routine, the timetables, even the building and the uniform. My son had to quickly adapt to the changes, and at the same time approaches to support his ADHD and autism had changed, and things went from 0 to 100 very quickly. Then out of nowhere we were told that the primary school were no longer willing to meet his individual needs. As the school imposed an urgency for my son to leave, his options were limited. In that moment, there was no availability of a school that would meet his needs of autism or even get to know him or understand him on an individual basis. And as a parent, this was concerning because it meant that there wouldn't necessarily be a smooth transition. Communication directed to my son's situation expressed that specialist schools were costly, they were scarce, there wasn't many available, especially within the borough and the counties that we lived in, and also that the availability wasn't certain. The primary school expressed that they felt that my son should go into a pupil referral unit. It was very clear that this unit wasn't able to support his individual need of autism. The suggestion did support the school in the sense that if he was to go there, he would no longer be their responsibility. This happened about a decade ago, and now there is an abundance of information available over the internet. And I'm not saying that perhaps information wasn't available to me at the time. Maybe I didn't see it. Maybe there was information, but I know that it wasn't available to me at the time. At the time, it felt like I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's that age-old feeling of feeling completely mystified. My mind is spinning, trying to find out information, what is available and what my options were. And as time goes on, I'm aware that many parents face these challenges daily. If you're currently experiencing something like that, I'd love to know what your comments are, because it's most likely that many of us share a similar journey. Which brings me to, what are our options? We have options such as homeschooling, unschooling, alternative and EOTAS. So there's homeschooling. That's usually conducted by you as a parent or a private tutor within the home environment. It can be less formal, but it can look different for each family. There's less distractions from school matters such as feeling under-challenged or overwhelmed, and it's practical. Then there's unschooling. Unschooling is taking your child's individual interests and working that around their education. I applied this within our experience because my son had specific interests, especially around science and dinosaurs. So going to places such as like the local museum, or even enrolling him into activities such as Explore Learning, allowed him to have a flexibility around how he chose to learn. And what I found is that this was actually helping him to continue with his excitement for learning. And there is alternative options such as perhaps a Steiner school or a Waldorf school or a chartered school. Some of these schools tend to have a holistic approach, imposing values of gratitude, responsibility, collaboration, diversity and inclusivity. And then there are specialist schools specialising in perhaps a diagnosis. My son did go to a specialist school for a period of time where it specialised in autism. He was able to have continuous access to an educational psychologist or an occupational therapist or a speech and language therapist, as the focus was primarily on his condition. Now, I came across this quite recently, and it's an EOTAS, and that's education other than at school. And I came across this in a blog called A Boy Less Ordinary, and it's about the experiences of a mother raising a young person with individual needs and talking about her experiences as she navigated the system. And it's there where she talks about this particular package, the EOTAS. It's a formal special education package under an EHCP. It's a legal mechanism whereby a young person with EHCP can receive special education provision despite being unable to attend an educational setting. This is where a young person is not required to be on roll or in attendance at a traditional setting. And it is different to homeschooling because the responsibilities and the obligations are on the local authority. The reason why this caught my attention, because if there was the option to do that at the time when I was experiencing a predicament, would have been a perfect option, because it provides flexibility and creative ways of thinking out of the box to support my child's education in a way that supports his individual learning style. And highlighting this really emphasises that how important it is to know what your options are when you're faced with setbacks, because having that information available puts you in a position to make a really positive, informed decision to support your child's needs moving forward. Now, if there are any of you that are currently going through the process of accessing a package like this, I'd love to know what your experiences are, so please share. Please share, because the information that you provide can help other parents that are subscribed to this channel in order to support them on their journey. And if you're experiencing any challenges with setbacks, why not take a look at some of my other videos, perhaps some videos about staying empowered or looking at how to navigate through the SEN process. But for now, keep doing what you're doing, stay focused, stay empowered, and keep creating progress. Thank you for listening.